Hi, this is the bad boy, Joey Janela, and you're listening to the Going in Raw podcast, because Joey Janela always goes in raw.
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to Going in Raw.
Hey everyone, Kenny Omega here. In case you didn't know, we have an awesome kick-butt show called Stephen Larson's Going in Raw, and they're going to be supporting AEW every week amongst many other things. Goodbye and smooch. Good night. Bye-bye.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson, and available wherever podcasts can be found. Be sure to hit that subscribe button.
Yep.
And the little notify
bell.
To make sure you always get your new Going in Raw notifications. I want to do this real quick. I want to give another shout out to the friendos on the Patreon at patreon.com/Stephen Larson. In case some of them are AEW exclusive fans.
Yeah.
Weston Gibbon Music, Jordan Moten, Daniel Warner, Jamie Small, Shane Harrison. And is the new channel member still available? Is that info still available there? Already disappeared. That already disappeared. Okay, well, thanks, new channel member.
Yes.
We appreciate your support. All sorts of great bonus content. On Monday, we rebooked New Japan Pro Wrestling on Overrun.
Well, we booked it for 2020.
For this year.
We didn't rebook it, yeah.
For this year, we fantasy booked it. And then the next day, on Tuesday, in the bonus episode, we fantasy booked this year's Royal Rumble. That was a lot of fun.
Wednesday, we fantasy booked a new Luchador.
Yeah, we played
Psycho Friendo.
The Xbox 360 AAA game.
Yeah, Lucha Libre Heroes del Ring.
Yeah, and we made a new Hero del Ring, Psycho Clown.
Psycho Friendo.
I'm sorry, Psycho Friendo. Psycho Clown's a real wrestler.
He's a real wrestler, yeah.
Psycho Amigo is our guy. And so and we started the story mode. So it's a new game that it's new to us that we've been trying to figure out.
It's almost 10 years old, I think.
Trying to like reprogram our brains to not be WWE 2K games.
Exactly.
It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's a lot of fun to watch. We have fun playing it. We're going to do some more of that in the future.
Yes.
So if you're interested in that, patreon.com/Stephen Larson or YouTube channel membership, you get that bonus info.
You got that right. Later on today for bonus content, we're going to do Who Won Wednesday.
Yeah. We're going to do that for like a scale down. I'm not going to produce it up. We're just going to sit here and talk but go through the same beats that we did for Who Won.
Totally.
We sort of stopped doing that for the regular channel because I don't know, at this point either people watch both of them, they watch one and they watch the other, but I don't really think comparing them necessarily is like it's fun and it's silly.
Yeah.
But that's overrun. That's bonus content for you.
Yeah. It's not necessary programming for the main channel.
Right, exactly. Yeah. We'll do a news brief later on today. Let's hop in. There was a new episode of AEW last night.
Oh yeah,
AEW is really it's interesting being on Twitter and seeing the very divisive reaction that AEW brings, because I didn't think last night's was really all that different from any other week.
Yeah.
I mean, they always have good matches. Like I thought Statlander versus Rijo was a good match until the end when it was overbooked. Hangman Page and Kenny Omega versus Private Party had cool stuff. Daniels versus Sammy Guevara was decent. Lucha Bros versus Cody and Dustin. I thought that was good. I thought I had sort of a qualm with the winner of the match, though.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, MJF, he's delivering these awesome segments
that was a good bit.
Every week. The comedy match was fun. So, I mean, a little bit, some of it may have been a bit on the predictable side, but it was an AEW episode. I'm not really sure. What was your take on it?
For me, it's and maybe I'm not in the majority of this opinion. I kind of prefer Dynamite when it's not so story-driven. Like how they're doing stuff with Hangman Page, I like. Finally, they're doing something with them, and it's not.
He loves alcohol.
He likes to drink, but he's drinking because there's an emptiness inside him.
Yeah.
He thinks he had to leave the Elite because he's losing all the time.
Right.
And he's having, he and Kenny can kind of work together in the ring, but there's still some tension between him and the rest of the Elite. And it's being played out, but it's not huge and overbearing. But like the Dark Order stuff, it just feels like WWE light. And that's not the flavor I prefer from AEW. I like the first 3 weeks I really liked because the story stuff wasn't, too over the top. Mm-hmm. It was all basic. Like right now, they made such a huge deal about win-loss records mattering. And I thought, okay, they're doing that because people are going to be motivated to win because there's actual tangible things that come from victories.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're just kind of like they post the rankings, and sometimes they seem somewhat arbitrary.
Yeah.
And it's kind of it only motivates the occasion, like some title bouts, and otherwise it doesn't really come into play. Like, oh, this person wants to win this match because they feel like they need to move up the rankings.
Yeah, they did that really well at first,
and now they don't really focus on it.
I wonder if it's like too. I mean, it is. Look, it's again. I mean, I've said this like week to week as sort of AEW has gotten past the honeymoon phase. Booking weekly television is
hard.
not easy. It's a difficult thing to do.
It really is.
And so I mean, that being said, I've sort of been there with AEW for a while now, and so week to week, it's like I understand what I'm going to get. You're always going to get really fun matches.
Yeah.
And then the story stuff, yeah, like Luther is goofy as all get out. Like the
whole
reveal
Nightmare
of
Collective
Luther.
thing's kind of goofy.
It's like super goofy. But I don't know. I mean, it's. I don't really know. I don't really know what like people expected. I know they promised like a couple things, and maybe they shouldn't have gone all in on like all the promises. Oh yeah, we're gonna do win loss records. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. Yeah, I mean, it takes time to figure out. But it was a wrestling show. I thought it.
It was a wrestling show. It didn't bore me. It didn't put me to sleep.
Right. I mean, it didn't have the shock value of, say, a Scott Steiner returning.
Oh, I mean, very few things do.
But I mean, how often does that happen?
Yeah, no. I mean, I guess it's not so much they're trying to tell stories because I want to tell stories. It's just when they do stuff. Just the Dark Order comes to mind. That seems very something really out of WWE's playbook. And it's like, well, I already have that on Raw or SmackDown.
I don't even know if they would do that, like to the level that AEW does it. It's like even cheesier. It's like WWE from like the aughts.
Yeah.
But
I mean, like, I've seen that. I have another company that already does that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or has tried to do something. Not exactly that specific, but in a general sense. Over the top kind of.
Yeah.
Characters that have some mystique about them. And I don't know. It's like people competing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's plenty of stories you can motivate just by people competing.
Yeah.
And I don't have to have these over the top.
I don't know how much that's going to appeal. Because I thought that when we were first talking about it,
I mean, that's all New Japan is people who are characters, and
yeah,
it's all,
we're going to watch that on a weekly basis.
I understand that.
I don't know if that's a completely different beast.
It's a different beast, but I mean, they're telling stories, and they're telling stories in a very particular way. And regardless if there's weekly television or not, they still have tons of shows. I don't have to. This is speaking for me personally. I don't have to have these huge story beats all the time because generally the stories they're being told in New Japan aren't contained in the span of sometimes even a year. Sometimes they're over the course of several years.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like the Naito story, the macro beats I get, I understand fully. I didn't necessarily need to know all the little micro beats here and there because by the time Wrestle Kingdom ended and he won everything, I got it and I understand how important it was.
Yeah, but if you were to sit down though, like, and I don't mean to harp on this, but like if you were to sit down, I feel like we're having like an overview on AEW right now. If you were to sit down, and it's all well and good to say the Naito storyline plays out over a couple of years and you understand it all. If you were to sit down and figure that out on a weekly basis, which is a different thing than how we consume New Japan, I think
it's different than how New Japan even produces their product.
Exactly. I think it'd be a much more difficult task to sort of take on. AEW like this, and even it's a different thing than the bookers at AEW. I mean, Cody's used to it, and that's why I think Cody's stuff is always the strongest because it's obvious that he focuses on him, and he probably focuses on a lot of other things. But like you can tell that he's like, okay, well, I know what I want to do with me, and it works. It works really well. Like I thought. I mean, one qualm with like this week with the Cody stuff was, them asking, hey. What's your response to the MJF stuff? Well, MJF issued this thing a week ago, and Arn Anderson said, we're going to talk about it this week.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't talk about it already. Or maybe that's a mind game saying, hey, I know you've had a week, but we're going to get to it when we get to it. Sort of turning the tables on MJF. It's like Cody put this thing out there, this impassioned promo, and MJF is like, okay, fine. I've got all these convoluted hoops you got to go through.
Yeah.
And then Cody's like, yeah, we'll get back to you. And it's sort of like maybe it's playing mind game.
Maybe.
I hope that's kind of the thing.
Maybe. I don't know.
So instead, MJF just talks about having sex with DDP's daughter.
Weird. And again, it's not a problem. It feels like there could be a middle ground to weekly episodic serialized storytelling a la WB and how AEW is trying to do it. while not necessary. For me, it's not a problem of hitting story beats on a weekly basis. That's not an issue. It's just how some of the story. It's mostly a Dark Order type stuff, where it's over the top.
Yeah.
It's something out of the WWE playbook. And not to say maybe Dark Order, when they were Super Smash Brothers, were doing something similar in the Indies. I don't remember. I don't know. It just feels like I'm getting too much of a flavor and get someplace else.
Yeah.
When I just want a whole new thing. And maybe that's expectations on my part. I'm not putting, it's unfair to put the whole blame on the feet of AEW.
Yeah.
But I guess my expectations were, given where they've come from, given what they've done, and given what the first 2 or 3 episodes were, I was like, okay, this is something different.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. I think one of the things that you might be getting at is, like, not only do you have the Dark Order, you've got the Nightmare Collective. You've got 2 pretty big stories
that are kind of the same thing.
And they're both goofy.
Yeah. So like the Inner Circle stuff, I get these guys are banding together to win, to dominate. Makes total sense. It's based on competition.
Yeah.
And from that competition, you get a sense of who these characters are. Works totally.
Yeah.
Totally work. But like, what's Brandy's motivation behind all this? Like, she wanted Chris Statlander to join. She's not, so she's taking it out on her.
Yeah.
But like, what's her motivation? Does she want to take over the women's division?
Yeah.
Does she want to have her talents carry that belt like exclusively? If so, what's Luther's role in this whole thing? There's just so much unknown about it.
Yeah.
Like Dark Order, now that they're doing those vignettes, I get a better sense of what they're about. And if it was kind of instead of being some sort of a cultish mystical thing, if they present themselves as here, jobbers, come with us and we can rehabilitate your careers, and you can kind of give it some sort of edge without doing the mask stuff. That could be fun.
Yeah.
But
no, I think it's going to be interesting to see where, I said this before TV started, it's going to be interesting to see what their TV is going to look like. Now we know what it looks like. We're going to see, it's going to be interesting to see
how it evolves.
It evolves. AEW is a fascinating look into how this is all playing out. It really is very interesting in the world of wrestling. And to see how they sort of, because Kenny just had like a Twitter thread where he was doing a QA thing. And he said that, he has to block a lot of the more ignorant takes. And in my opinion, there are a ton of very nitpicky takes out there.
Yeah.
But that being said,
and I hope I don't want to come off as nitpicky, because it's not like I didn't enjoy Dynamite.
No, what you're talking about is you're not saying, I don't like that so-and-so said this specifically. What you're saying is, like, in terms of how you consume pro wrestling, you hate AEW. I'm sorry, joking. I think people understand what you're saying. But no, there's a lot of nitpicky takes out there that I've seen. To me, it's just, there are episodes that just, you can tell the performers feel more confident in the stories they're telling. And there's episodes where they're trying to wade through the waters and figure it out. I feel like that was one of them from last night. But no, this was very interesting about Kenny Omega, because who's Elijah Washington here in chat brings up Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
And like I said, he was doing that QA on Twitter, and somebody actually asked him the question. He answered it. Why are you taking sort of a backseat role? I'm paraphrasing here. I'm not quoting. Why are you taking more of a backseat role? Which is one of the big complaints that a lot of people have had.
Yeah.
And he said, I lived out most of my dreams
my last run.
In my last
New
run.
Japan.
My current dream is to put over a new generation. And it's like, Kenny, they didn't sign you up for this to put over the new generation. They signed you up for this because you're a massive star. You need to realize that, man. Somebody needs to get through to him and say, dude, can you do both, maybe?
Yeah, here's the thing. If you build yourself up as top guy, so when someone beats you, an up-and-comer, for example, Darby Allin.
You're a rising tide.
That's a huge deal.
You're a rising tide. Yeah, everybody, they all go up. So I thought that was interesting. And I thought that he also said that he does look at a lot of the criticism, the more constructive criticism, and he takes it in. So we're, 3 months deep into this thing. I want to see where we're going to be 3 years into this thing. So yeah, I don't think Wayne says Kenny's coasting. I honestly don't think he's coasting. I think he's putting a lot of effort into what he's focused on, which is not Kenny Omega right now. And I think that's one problem that people have is like, dude, it's like somebody signs Michael Jordan to their team to be in 1992 to be baller.
And he's all about making sure the first round draft pick gets the ball in crunch time.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm going to come off the bench
And guess what? In crunch time, I'm going to pass.
Exactly.
Set screens.
Yeah.
I'm not taking any shots.
Yeah. So, anyways, we'll get into it. It started out with a match: Hangman Page and Kenny Omega versus Private Party. Now, I did not watch Being the Elite this week.
Nor did I.
Somebody I saw, I think it was a Wrestle Talk article that recapped it. Said that Hangman Page apparently officially left the Elite.
Okay.
On the episode. I wonder, was it explained why he's still? I know the match was set, but why is he with Kenny Omega?
I don't know, and I don't know.
Okay.
Don't know. I don't remember commentary saying anything about it.
Okay. So yeah, but no, it was a fun.
Did you
match,
feel like
though.
JR was a little more on point last night? He seemed to be having there at one point. I remember, I wasn't during this match. Can't remember what it was. It was some match. Someone did a suicide dive, and he kind of jokingly corrected them, saying, "Don't you mean a tope suicida?"
Oh, okay. There was another moment where he said something along those lines, and I can't remember it right now.
But I didn't feel like Tony and JR were doing the hey, let's kind of make fun of the product a little bit type stuff as much last night.
Yeah, I usually notice my ears usually perk up when I hear that, and I think you're right about that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody saw how great Taz was last week, and they were like, hey, this is what it needs to be, or that's going to be the commentary team.
Yeah. And also this first match, his name was Dave something. This first match, there was someone that used to do a commentary in Memphis that joined the booth.
Oh, yeah, Dave Brown.
Dave Brown.
I think it was Dave Brown.
And maybe just having that fourth person there, it kept everybody on their best behavior.
That could be, yeah.
But even throughout the whole night, I didn't notice JR or Tony were just having laughs at the
Yeah,
expense of anything.
I didn't notice it nearly as much. And usually I don't really pay too close attention to the commentary unless I hear something like that.
Yeah. It's
And
like
then
bad umpiring.
Yeah, exactly. I just eye roll. Anyways, it was a good match.
It was a great match. And again, these are the kind of stories for AEW I enjoy, where you get character stuff and it influences the competitive nature of the match. So anyways, Page is in first, and he's isolated pretty quickly by Private Party. He has a shoulder tackle on Isaiah Cassidy. Suplexes Mark Quinn into him. Kenny comes in. He and Kenny have this great bit where they start chopping somebody, like this person's in the middle, and they just chop back and forth. It's great. Anyways, Cassidy eventually hits a springboard flatliner on Kenny. Page and Quinn in. Quinn hits a top rope fun splash on Page, and then gets back in the ring. Suicide dive to Kenny. Get back in the ring. Dive over the top rope to Page. Back in the ring. Tope on Kenny. Back in the ring. Corkscrew tope on Page. Amazing.
Yeah, good stuff.
And then he puts Page back in the ring, hits a 450, gets a 2, and the Private Party have the advantage for a good stretch. Isaiah Cassidy goes for a springboard. He eats a boot from Page. Quinn tries for a double team move. Page catches him, hits a fallaway slam. Kenny gets in. A lot of good double team offense from Kenny and Hangman Page. Maybe Kenny, through working with Page, is going to find the road to his winning ways again. And maybe by working with Kenny, Page can work through his issues with the Elite.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the story they're working with. Maybe Kenny will have to have an intervention to keep Hangman from drinking so much.
I hope they don't. That's one thing about. We can just talk about that real quick before we continue with the match. That's one thing I really hope they don't do, go overboard with the drinking thing.
They haven't yet.
They haven't yet. It's played as a goof because you can do that. It's not like super. Sometimes people do.
I hope they don't do a thing where he shows up to the ring and he's acting drunk.
I really don't want to go there.
That's too much.
That's silly. That's too much.
That's too much.
Because then you are getting into. It's one thing. Look. The guy who always has a drink in his hand, that could be played for humor.
Yes.
When you start going down roads where it's just like Jeff Hardy at Victory Road.
Yes, exactly. You don't want to harken back to that.
You don't want to do that at all.
No.
So, a guy who has emotionally checked out and to the point, which is I think one thing they're doing with Page, he's emotionally checked out. He's at a crossroads. And so he's going to sit back and have some drinks, and there's a little bit of apathy there. So he's going to have a drink or two. That to me is good comedy.
Yeah.
When you take it past that, he shows up drunk or they have to have an intervention. That's just bad.
Yeah.
That dives into just bad.
Yeah. So the bit of double team offense from Kenny and Page culminates in like a pop-up power bomb into a V trigger. That earns him a 2 count. Kenny tries to V-trigger Isaiah Cassidy. Cassidy responds with a drop kick. Goes for one V-trigger of his own. Kenny evades that, tries to backdrop him out of the ring, but Mark Quinn gets on the apron. And so they hit silly string on Kenny. That gets him a 2 count. Quinn goes for a shooting star press. Kenny gets out of the way. Page is in. He goes for a buckshot lariat while Kenny is holding up Mark Quinn like we saw a couple weeks ago. Quinn moves. However, this time, Page does not lay out Kenny with the buckshot. He stops short. And then Quinn shoves Page into Kenny. And then Page hits a discus lariat, gets a 2. Page and Kenny set up for some sort of doomsday type move in the corner. Private Party breaks that up. They hit gin and juice on Kenny. Hangman's in to break up the pin. And then Kenny kind of like Mark Quinn tries to kick him. Kenny does a thing where you flip him over. In the process, Quinn hits a flip kick on Page. We're thinking, all right, this would be their road to an L. However, Page hits a buckshot lariat right when Kenny's hitting a V-trigger. And then Kenny hits a one-winged angel to pick up the win. They seem to be on it. And then, like, after the match, everything was cool.
Yeah.
No animosity, no tension.
Yeah. Unfortunately, their celebration was cut short because backstage, Pac shows up, and he's got Nakazawa in the brutalizer.
Yeah. There's refs and stuff back there trying to break it up.
Yeah, and he's like, Kenny, give me my rubber match. I want it now. Or he wants it at some point.
And Kenny kind of looks at Paige, and Paige's like, go.
And then Paige goes over. This is great. Paige goes over to a couple dudes in the crowd there in front, and he grabs a beer.
And then he starts wandering through the crowd, drinking his beer, and he downs it.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but this is going to get him over more than anything they were doing in the beginning.
Hell yeah, man.
Just being like, Hangman Adam Page, good wrestler, babyface, cool-looking guy. No, man, this is actually giving the guy some dimension and some conflict, and people like that. People want that, and he's over. Like, the crowd is really into him.
Yeah.
So I am very interested. At first, I was like, man, they're doing another one with him. They're doing something with him now. I'm very interested to see where he's going to go with this. So,
yes, exactly.
So that's good.
Next, Chris Statlander versus Rijo for the AEW Women's Championship. Brandy was on commentary, and this was a really good match. Tons of fun.
Yeah.
It just kind of devolved into an overbooked mess at the end.
Okay, so I'm going to defend this now.
All right.
Because one thing that people also expected going to AEW was, they're not going to do wonky finishes. And even you and I would be like, I doubt they're going to do a wonky finish. AEW doesn't it? Look, man, one of the great traditions of pro wrestling is wonky flipping finishes.
Yeah.
It really is. DQ finishes, storyline overbooked finishes. I'm totally fine with that kind of stuff because that's part of pro wrestling. You got to get out of, they're not going to do a title change here.
No.
And so you got to get out of it some way.
Maybe the issue so much isn't the wonk finish. Maybe the issue is there's not a stronger story behind the wonky finish. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, I think the general consensus, the Nightmare Collective stuff, it really isn't working.
Yeah.
And maybe I think for me it was like, all right. I mean, it's totally expected. It totally is consistent with Brandy's motivation. She wanted to recruit Statlander. Statlander said no. Now she's upset. I understand all that. I understand why she wanted to get in the way of Statlander could potentially win the belt. It's just not. It's just not presented in a strong enough fashion for me to really care about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I look at it and I just this is the story that we're being presented. Like, it doesn't generate an emotional reaction in me. That's for sure.
And I think that's the problem. And maybe part of the problem too is that you got Statlander getting screwed out of the title when she's facing not just a champion, but like the top face in the women's division. Mm-hmm. So you get the feeling like Rijo, granted it's unbeknownst to her, is being handed a win. Mm-hmm. It's not great for Rijo.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the ingredients involved.
And they all like Rijo reacted in that manner.
No, totally.
She's like, oh, this sucks. And then you have the rest of the women's division sitting there being very engrossed. Okay, we want to know what's going on.
Except for
Britt Baker's sitting there like, I'd rather be anywhere else but here, to be honest with you. Yeah. Like, why am I here? That was pretty funny.
Yeah, when Sheeta got in the ring afterwards and Britt's like, not my issue.
Not going to do that.
Not my issue. Not my problem. Imagine if she joins Nightmare Collective and she has to cut all her hair off.
Yeah. If she became like a, Nightmare Collective, they might need, it feels like they are lacking that one sort of alpha player. You know,
because Awesome Kong's there.
No, but Awesome Kong is like their Hager. You know, it's like it doesn't seem like she's going to actually like you think that, but I think she's sort of the enforcer. Like she's the person who's sort of above all that or away from the fray. And then you've got the what's her name, the bald one.
Oh, Melanie Cruz.
Thank you, Melanie Cruz. She's like the Virgil of the group. You need your lead guy.
Yeah.
And that could easily be Britt Baker. That could be somebody. And it seems like that's who they're trying to recruit. They're trying to get Statlander to be that crown jewel, you know?
Yeah.
But obviously the alien said no.
Yeah. And then the reveal of Luther at the end.
Yeah, he's goofy looking.
Yeah.
That was goofy. I get it, man. And I wonder if part of the problem, and I know that the Nightmare Collective is focused on the women's division. I get that. But you got the Dark Order, you got the Nightmare Collective. And then the group that really should be booked the strongest as a heel stable, the Inner Circle, they are not. And in fact, LAX has not been anywhere to be seen.
I know.
I think they're going to be there next week. But
yeah.
And
somehow they're number one contender for the tag titles.
Yeah, I know. It is. It's a bit convoluted. But yeah, they should really be. That's what I was really excited when the first episode, when the Inner Circle formed. It's like, oh, cool, a dominant big faction. Mm-hmm. They're going to recruit some more people.
Even Jericho's kind of he's kind of playing his character as a bit of a dullard. Yeah. And not just oblivious because he's so full of himself. He seems to be kind of like an outright dullard sometimes. Like Mox was on his podcast talking about how he doesn't care about money. And Jericho's trying to throw all this fancy stuff at him.
Okay, well that's a good question. That's some wrestling silliness that we can talk about for a second.
All right.
Is Jericho's podcast canon? It can't be.
No, it's not.
It can't be.
But you can't ignore the fact that Mox was on there and more or less said, "I don't care about money." And then expect us to, because Mox is like, yeah, I don't care about money. When he responded,
he even referenced his paid-off truck last night.
Yeah, exactly. So he said, yeah, I have my 2015 truck that I paid for with cash.
Like, I mean, is it canon? Like, it kind of is canon, isn't it?
They referenced it.
Yeah, they referenced.
I mean,
not
directly, but at the same time, it's like Jericho heard from Mox's mouth, "I don't care about money." On his podcast. And what did Mox say last night? "I don't care about money." He said, "I don't care about any of this stuff. I care about dominating."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyways, getting off topic. Anyways, this is a really good match. Statlander's great. Rijo's great.
Yeah, they're both great.
Statlander will probably get that title at one point, but yeah, I didn't expect the title to change hands last night, and a wonk finish makes. I guess it is. It just is. I don't know.
I mean, that's one thing. It is sort of unclear. Like I'm kind of curious. I wonder even if Kenny knows who I think books the women's division. If he even knows like who the next person to get.
Well,
the
one of the
title.
Twitter questions he was asked is like, who's the face of the women's division? He said, still working on
it. Yeah, but he also put over Rijo pretty.
Put over Rijo, Statlander, and Hikaru Shida.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
those are the three names he mentioned. So anyways, early on, Statlander blocks a 619 from Rijo. Rijo hits a hip toss. Statlander hits a backbreaker. I'll just skip ahead because Melanie Cruz, and Awesome Kong walk down the ring. Rijo is on the apron. Cruz pulls her off, tosses her in the barricade, and then Statlander lays her out with a suicide dive. And Brandy's like, "All right, I got to go." She walks down the ring. While she's doing that, Statlander lays out Awesome Kong with another suicide dive. And by that time, Brandy's down ringside. Her and Statlander start arguing, and that's when the bald dude pops out, Luther, from the ring, and Excalibur goes, "Oh my gosh, that's Luther, the Japanese deathmatch legend."
Yeah.
Problem is that no one in the arena hears any of this. So they see a bald guy pop out from the ring, and they're like, "Who the hell? We don't know who this is."
Weird face paint on.
Like, why should this be impactful for us? And we have no idea who this is. Even Excalibur saying that, I'm like,
yeah, I know, me too. I was like, I don't know who that is. Like, if it was the other Japanese deathmatch guy, Tsushi Onita, I'd be like, oh, wow, holy crap, they got that guy.
Huge get.
That'd be huge. He's Nightmare Collective. I'm on board. Where's a T-shirt?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the thing is, like, Awesome Kong's great. I like Brandy.
Yeah.
I don't feel there's a reason for me to really. The Nightmare Collective don't have a hook yet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have a thing where I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can see why this is important. Something to worry about. Cool.
Yeah.
Just don't see that yet. I mean, that's the issue.
Yeah, it could be. You're probably right. I feel
it's
that.
like Inner Circle, I get.
Yeah.
Whether it's handled correctly, it's up for debate, but I get.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even the Inner Circle though, like when they have a match, there is always the threat of the Inner Circle there.
Oh, yeah.
And then I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's always lingering. I just figured it'd be a bit more NWO-ish.
Totally. And like they've handled Hager perfect so far.
Yeah, they've handled Hager pretty good.
And Sammy they've handled pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Sammy they've handled perfectly. Sammy has made a star of himself in my eyes anyways.
Yeah. LAX, not so much.
Because that dude's out there wrestling every single week.
Yeah, he's starting to get some wins. Put some wins
LAX,
together.
they started off hot, and then after the Texas Death Match, whatever they called it,
against the Young Bucks, yeah.
They've
kind of disappeared.
Disappeared a little bit, yeah. Didn't they take a loss against Private Party?
Yeah.
They had a loss against them.
Yeah, it was that memorial match.
That was a bad move.
So this Luther guy pops out. Statlander's about to punch Brandy.
Now, ever since you mentioned him being what was his name in Game of Thrones? The eunuch. I cannot not like. It's funny because this week it was even more. Even though I hadn't seen his face, nobody knew who he was. We just saw in the vignette from behind him.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you're right. It's the dude from Game of Thrones. This week I saw him. I was like, holy crap, it really is him. Somebody in chat's gonna drop his name.
Yeah,
I know it.
Statlander trying to punch Brandy. Luther catches a punch, tosses Statlander towards Awesome Kong. Awesome Kong clotheslines her. And then Rijo goes to the top. You think she's going to hit a coup de grace on Statlander to win. No. Top rope fun splash.
Varys.
Thank
you.
Yeah. Onto Luther. Then she goes back in, goes to the top, tries for a coup de grace. Statlander gets out of the way. And then the finish sees Chris goes for her finisher. Awesome Kong trips her up. And then Rijo did the pitting combo to get the win. Awesome Kong's in the ring after the match, starts beating up on Statlander. Rijo tries to make the save. She's dropped by Melanie Cruz. Hikaru Shida jumps over the barricade. She gets involved. Britt just stays there. She's sitting.
Yeah.
And then Big Swole comes out as well.
Yep. I wonder if Britt Baker was thinking, man, I could have been part of Richard Stone brand. Was that his name? Robert Stone?
Robert Stone.
Robert Stone. Robert Stone.
Robert Stone brand.
Because he was Robbie E.
Yeah.
Robert Stone brand. And be with my lovely boyfriend.
I just think if we're given more reason to care about or to feel afraid of Nightmare Collective, then it would have been more impactful.
Yeah.
And they've had AEW's had some issues with debuts. When Dark Order came out to beat up Best Friends at Double or Nothing, everybody's like, who the hell are these guys? When Butcher the Blade came out. Like, I know who Braxton Sutter is. Like, say that's Braxton Sutter if they can use that name.
Yeah, Impact probably owns that.
Maybe.
But I mean, the thing about the Butcher and the Blade is that I knew about them. I had never really and I knew one of them was Braxton Sutter. But for the general audience, like I know, it's a weird dichotomy. It's Cody has said openly he wants to appeal to the Being the Elite fans, to the people who watch Being the Elite. That's who he's making this for. And I guess you could maybe assume that people who watch Being the Elite would be somewhat in tune with the larger names in the independent scape. The thing that really bugged me about Butcher and the Blade is that you could have produced some really cool vignettes with their look.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, how are they going to debut? And then that's how they debut. And so the home audience is like, oh, it's these guys. They were making them out to be a big deal, and they are. And so that's my bigger problem with them, is that, man, they really could have like hyped that. The same thing with the Dark Order. Like, if we had those vignettes in advance.
Yeah, if they booked this in reversed, I know. Yeah. Their eventual debut would have been a lot more impactful. I think that's the thing, is they're doing all these cold debuts without preparing people for who these characters are.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dark Order debuts at Double or Nothing. It's like, oh, they're good. They look cool, I guess, and they have all these creepers with them. But who are they, and why should I? What reason am I given to care about them beating up Best Friends?
Yeah, it's funny because if you look back at so when Double or Nothing was happening, remember they had that awesome video package with Dustin building up that Cody match, and I was like, man, if this is what AEW TV is going to look like, this is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is kind of funny how like we so expected like a sports feel, and it's just gone like kind of literally the complete opposite direction. Like, Hangman's all drinking, and you got the Dark Order, the Nightmare Collective. It is kind of funny how that happened.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's gone so quickly off the
Even see where they were like the second episode or the third episode
Yeah, I know.
to where they are now is it's a pretty huge departure.
That's kind of crazy.
It is pretty crazy. After that, we had a Kip Sabian video
Super bad.
package, yeah.
Super bad. Kip Sabian.
And then after that, Christopher Daniels versus Sammy Guevara. This was a fun match. Of course, Pentagon Jr. came out towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, where I lost my spot. Oh, yeah, and he's like, hey, do the moonsault.
Do the moonsault. Do it. Come on, I want to see you do it. And Daniels is so confused. He's like, oh, man.
I got to prove my bona fides to this guy. So he charges at Sammy. Sammy hits him with a knee and then a super kick, and he pins him.
Yeah.
Doesn't even need a finisher.
Yeah. Well, he's all confused. I want that to be Penta's like new gimmick, though, is like needling people when they make one mistake.
Yeah. Someone botches something, and he just he repeats it. He's going to essentially have Sami Zayn's telestrator gimmick.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
he's
got an iPad. And he's like doing.
He's
this
match
telestrator
critic.
thing. Yeah, exactly.
So match finishes. Dark Order runs out of the ring. Evil Uno's making a pitch to Christopher Daniels, saying, "Hey, look at you.
You're an innovator. Nobody would be here today without how you
especially
without
me.
you.
You took me under your wing, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be here without you. Now you suck."
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, holy crap, are they actually going to reveal Christopher Daniels to be the higher power? 20 years after he wasn't.
I know.
In WWE because he was too short.
So Uno hands him a mask. Daniels tosses that at him. Dark Order starts beating him down. SCU to the ring to make the saves. Young Bucks are there too.
Mm-hmm.
They clear the ring, and then Stu Grayson, for some reason, I think he was on the opposite side of the ring as the tope was supposed to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's like, oh, shoot, I have to get over there. If I just run over there, it's going to be weird. So I'll jump back in the ring, fight a little bit, and get sent out. Scorpio Sky lays them all out with a tope. Young Bucks super kick Alex Reynolds, and then Christopher Daniels hits him with the Uranagi and a moonsault. So we're gonna get some sort of 10-man tag action at some point.
Yeah, well, if this is WWE, that'd be the case. In this case, the Young Bucks and SCU versus
Dark Order.
Dark Order.
So you can have Uno, Stu, Alex Reynolds, and John Silver.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because next week we're getting Butcher and the Blade and MJF against DDP, QT Marshall, and Dustin.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
You know, the one thing that bugged me about the MJF promo is why, in the span of one Lanny Poffo interview, Cody Rhodes teleported apparently another city.
Yeah.
And they were like trying to say, oh, he's in the trainer's room or something. Dustin was the one that got his knee kicked 1,000 times, and he was out there.
I know. Like, as soon as MJF started talking about banging DDP's, so to speak, daughter, like, at that point, Cody really should have come back down. Hey, like, come on, man. You post pictures of you being in a gorilla position with Tony Khan.
I know. Yeah, we know you're just right there. You know MJF. But, like, the span...
No, you're right. It was literally, we see Cody... And then we literally then see MJF. Why is it like he's not? Why didn't MJF come out while Cody was out there?
Or if you're going to do it that way, have this match open the show.
Right, yeah.
Kayfabe, a reason why Cody's not there.
Yeah.
And have MJF do this.
Have him
and that when he says, oh, Cody, you're a coward. Come on, I'll give you a 10 count. Come out here.
Yeah.
Aha, you didn't do it.
Oh, he's catching a helicopter because Arn has some game film for him to watch.
Yeah, something like that.
To continue the football coach metaphors that they incessantly do.
But to have these in back-to-back segments, it's like, Cody was just there. Yeah. Dustin took the worst.
It's like pass each other.
Dustin took the worst beating in that match.
Yeah.
And he makes it down there.
He makes it down there, exactly.
It's like it just, come on.
Some of this stuff, like I said, some of this stuff is no-brainer stuff, man. And I don't think that, and here's the thing, I don't think that's nitpicky at all. That's just logical story beats.
It is logical story beats.
Yeah.
Anyways, Lucha Brothers versus Cody and Dustin was next. It was a good enough match, and they sure are making Ray Phoenix take a lot of losses, aren't they?
He's the new Carl Anderson.
Kind of.
Cody and Dustin are, and this is not a shock, really good as a tag team. Mm-hmm. The Lucha Bros should not have. I get that right now Cody is on a all the elite have to win thing. I get that because
he's also the booker, so he doesn't have to book himself against like one of the best tag teams in the world, to win.
Right. Like if this was Cody and Dustin versus Jurassic Express, sure, give you guys the win. If it was against the other comedy act, the best friend guys, okay, give them. This is the Lucha Bros, man. They're like traveled the world. How many times has Cody and Dustin teamed up at this point? Like 3?
Well, in AEW, they were tag team champs in WWE.
No, I know, but that's not, that's whatever. That was ages ago. Cody even said on Twitter, I rarely team up with my brother, but this is a special occasion because of Lucha Bros. Yeah, you should totally lose this match.
Yeah, I know.
It's Lucha Bros.
I know.
They really should be in contention for tag team titles.
Yeah, no, instead they have like a 500 record. But I guess that's been expunged, so now they have a losing record.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I was on board that record thing. More and more we talk about it, they need to get rid of that shit. Because it was like last night when Jurassic Express got their win. And they're like, oh, this is the first time, Jack Perry got his
first win, yeah.
Got his first win. I'm like, really? Don't remind me of that. Get rid of these damn records, man.
Either get rid of them.
If you're going to be so goofy with your stories, you got to get rid of the records.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Either pick one side. Be sports and have records, or be goofy shit and don't have records.
That's the point I'm trying to make, man.
All right.
And I prefer the sports aspect because it's different. It's just not the same as WWE's doing.
Yeah, I like the goofy shit. You know me.
So the finish of this match is a lot of fun, though. A lot of back and forth. Anytime Dustin busts out a Destroyer, it's great.
Yeah, I love that. That's great.
But Dustin ends up getting the pin on Rey Fenix after a final reckoning. Cody is supposed to have an interview with Tony Schiavone. He's about to respond to MJF's stipulations. Instead, Arn steps in, interrupts, and he's like, "Who around here gave MJF the stroke to dictate the terms of this match?
Yeah.
We're gonna go and we're gonna talk about it, and we'll get back to you." Yeah. And like the audience was like audibly, "Huh? What?"
Yeah. And then like they pass by MJF as he walks to the ring.
Yeah, in the span of a 90-second Lanny Poffo interview.
Because it was Legends of Wrestling night. We didn't even really get to see that much.
No,
they showed.
They were sitting ringside for the MJF stuff, and they had some stuff at the beginning of the show,
I think,
right?
a ceremony probably before the cameras were rolling. Because during the Lanny Poffo interview, they rolled footage of who was there.
The Rock and Roll Express were there. Austin Idol
was there.
Jimmy Valiant was there.
Yeah.
A couple other faces I recognize. So MJF makes his way out. It's picture in picture. So he's doing his usual thing where he's going by the ring and talking trash and stuff. He makes Justin Roberts kiss his ring. I couldn't tell if he grabbed him by the tie or not. That'd been a funny touch if he had grabbed by the tie.
I think he did, or at least it was the lapel, but the tie would have been the best.
Yeah. He passes by the Memphis wrestling legends, gives them all double birds.
Yeah.
Gets in the ring, and then by the time the commercial breaks over, he's talking. He calls Cody a coward. Says, Cody, I'll give you a count of 10 to come down here and face him. He doesn't. MJF calls him a little bitch. And then that's when you hear, it's me, it's DDP. DDP comes to the ring.
Lena Bliss here makes a good point in chat. If Cody touches him, the match is off. But then wouldn't that start when Cody accepts? Or maybe not.
Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, that's one of the stipulations.
Yeah, that is one of the stipulations.
It means he can respond and not touch him.
Well, I think maybe that was the point of him not coming down at the end.
Yeah, it just comes off as Cody looking weak, though.
Well, it comes off as him being lost in the arena.
Or that. I mean, he can go out. I mean, like he can run out there with Dustin and QT Marshall, and kind of direct traffic or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he needs to show his face at least to show that he's engaged.
Yeah, exactly. So DDP calls MJF Motor Mouth Jackoff Friedman.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Because he says Jackoff really good.
Yeah.
DDP.
Puts over DDP Yoga.
Yeah.
Puts over himself.
Now known as DDPY.
Yeah. And said the fans, they're going out to social media asking DDP, are you going to have one more match?
I did not ask him for that.
No. And then MJF starts talking some trash. DDP steps up to him. MJF says, "Oh, all right. Well, here I got someone who wants to meet your acquaintance." Butcher and the Blade. MJF says, "Hey, WCW's dead, and dead is the average age of your fans."
That is a great line.
That's a good line. And tells DDP that either you can kiss the ring and walk out of here, or not and go straight to hospice. And he says, when that happens, you go to hospice, and that's when I'll lay down with one of your daughters.
Very graphic, like with hand movements and hip movements, and I'll lay her down on the bed. Anyways, DDP goes on a diamond cutter rampage. He starts doling out to everybody, including the poor Butcher and Blade.
Yeah,
the guys who their mystique is all gone because they're financed by MJF.
Well, first, Cody.
Whenever somebody needs money, it takes the mystique away.
It really does. So they're financed by MJF. They basically got single-handedly destroyed by Cody.
And then they both got laid out by 80-year-old diamond cutters.
And then DDP tries to diamond cut MJF. He low blows him. QT Marshall, I guess he's Nightmare Family now, and Dustin run down to make the save.
Yeah.
Cody could have come down there, directed traffic, not laid a hand on him.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. It would be okay if, like, Cody comes down and they even play up the story that he's not going to touch MJF because he wants his options on the table.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. It just seems like a good way to build the story. Like he runs like he's about to hit MJF or something. Not going to do it.
Yeah.
My brother, on the other hand, have at it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, and MJF tweeted while DDP was talking.
That was pretty funny.
When will this old fart shut up?
Yeah.
After that, Jurassic Express versus Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. This is a fun match. Jungle Boy finally gets a win.
Yes. So that was good.
And on TV, we actually get to see Orange Cassidy wrestle a little bit.
Yeah, that was rad. He's supremely over.
Yeah.
That crowd, when he gets that tag, oh boy. He is big time over.
And he's a decent wrestler when he actually wrestles.
No, he's a good wrestler.
I love that splash he did, though, where he just kind of fell off the top rope.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Pretty funny. Anyway, Jungle Boy, he reverses up a powerbomb attempt from Chuck Taylor. Get the roll-up win. Gets a W finally.
Yeah, finally gets a W. So, new year, new records.
It's going to be a stellar 2020 for Jungle Jack Perry.
Have they put? I've noticed records when the people come out, but I swear every time I see them, they're career records or they're AEW career records, not for the year
not for
yet. Maybe there hasn't been enough days in the year.
Yeah, maybe
yet.
not. Maybe they were waiting until the people start accruing more wins or losses.
That could be.
After that, it was announced that DDP is going to be in that 6-man tag match.
He's going to drop some diamond cutters.
Yep. And then finally, the main event segment, Inner Circle come down the ring, get another cue card bit with Sammy Guevara.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's good stuff.
After that picture-in-picture commercial, Mox comes down the ring, and Jericho, he wants his answer.
Mm-hmm.
And Mox is like, I don't think anyone knows my motivations. Even you, Chris. I don't want any of the stuff you offered me. I bought my truck with cash in 2015. I don't care about a fancy car. I don't care about money. I don't care about owning 49% of Inner Circle. I came to AEW to dominate, to run roughshod over the wrestling business. And that is why I'm saying yes. He unzips his jacket.
Inner Circle shirt.
Which when you see him coming down through the crowd with his jacket zipped up all the way, you know Inner Circle shirt's underneath there.
Yeah.
I've watched enough WCW to know
exactly
how this whole thing's going to play out.
To be honest, yeah, from beat to beat, you know exactly. Even down to he's going to wink to the camera, isn't he? Oh, he just winked to the camera. Yeah.
The only kind of difference was rather than just going straight to a paradigm shift after Sammy and Jack Hager left the ring, he's like, yeah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of sucks the air out of your eventual reveal that you're not joining him a little bit.
You know what?
But you get that reaction shot of Jericho processing it, so it kind of makes it worth it.
I kind of like that because Mox is good with the one line. You know, he's good with the punchline. And so he says, yeah, just kidding. And it's like, yeah, okay. Well, I saw that coming, but it was still a good punctuation, you know?
So Mox says, I want to stand with the Inner Circle because they dominate AEW. Mox declares Jericho the greatest of all time, and Mox wants to surround himself with greatness. Yeah, and he's like, "Hey, let's start popping some bubbly.
Let's get some bubbly."
And Mox says, "Oh, hold on, I forgot something." And you think, "Oh, here it is." He's like, "Give me the car keys."
He wants the car
so
keys.
He gets the car keys.
Fancy car, $750,000 car.
Yeah, and the crowd starts chanting, "You sold out." Mm-hmm. Sammy and Jake they leave, so it's just Jericho and Mox lingering, and Mox's like, "Hey, cut the music." Yeah, I was just kidding. I'd never join the Inner Circle. And he has a bottle of champagne in his hand, breaks over Jericho's head, drops him with a paradigm shift. Sammy gets in. He eats one, too.
Yeah, that sell job from Sammy was great.
Yeah.
One of those like small athletic guys just plant themselves like Ricochet does that. It's great.
And as Hager's getting in the ring, Mox beats it through the stands, takes off the Inner Circle shirt, but out of his pocket, he still has the car keys.
Still has the car keys.
How many weeks is it going to take for that car to be destroyed?
Yeah, I don't know, but Jericho, apparently it's Tony Khan's dad's car.
Oh.
Apparently it's legitimately his car. But in storyline, of course, Jericho had said, title is clear, it's in your name, it's gassed up, ready to go. So Mox gets the car. Mox gets the car regardless.
Well, if it's Tony's dad's car, it's probably not gonna get destroyed.
I don't think it's gonna be because it's like legitimately, yeah. I think that's probably their budget. This isn't WWE. That's like legitimately their budget. Unless they're trying to kayfabe like a Ford Focus as that car.
Well, it could be a situation where he's at the junkyard and there's like a little compressed box. That
exactly.
Hey, you want to see your car? Here it is.
Yeah.
And that could be any car.
That could be anything.
It could be not a car. It could be a tank for all we know.
Could be that thing the $1 Million Man was
There
fighting
you
in
go.
that video.
Robo tank.
Anyways, let's take some questions. Let's see what the people have to say. Let's take some questions.
First, Jeffrey Nguyen says, I relate to Hangman Page on a deep level.
I know, Jeffrey. I know. Ryan Luckman says, any update on Big Red? Are we any closer to being able to lock up Snake Larson? I don't think he took it.
I didn't take it. I have an interim title. I'm happy. I won predictions for Wrestle Kingdom. I have my interim title. I'm cool.
No, that's not. We don't do interim titles here going in.
I just said we did. If you can declare predictions null and void because the trophy is missing, then I can say, okay, here's my new trophy. I win.
No, the trophy's missing though. That's what was up for grabs.
No.
This, this here you can have this coffee cup.
Sure.
It's a terrible interim. That's not a good interim title.
But I mean, it's a symbol of my victory, and that's all I really care
There's
about.
only one symbol, and that's Big Red.
No, symbols here can come and go. As anybody can see from our history doing predictions, we've had several things represent winning or losing of predictions.
The investigation.
Winning or losing is what's important, not the physical manifestation of that.
It's all
victory.
about what the prize is. Instagram, Steven Larson. You can follow along. I had some suspect lists, some suspect.
Interim title.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's no title there. This is a bunch of tomfoolery.
It really is. It truly is. Interim title here.
Greg Morris said, I love JR calling it AWE.
Oh, I missed that.
I missed that too. Right here, AWE.
For all wrestling.
How do you even say that's such a mouthful to add the W in the middle?
Yeah, I know.
AEW is so easy to say. AWE. Let's see here. Jimmy Thomas. I hope that they keep it that Page is a professional in the ring, but the second the bell rings, break out the booze. Yeah, book him like an old school wrestler. You know, the guys who would just drink all the time, but they were fine in the ring.
James Fletcher, what do you think will be the big moment where people think AEW can take down WWE? I don't think anybody can take down WWE. At least not in the promotion.
I think that we're so far away from that even being potentially.
Like if John Cena showed up on AEW.
Yeah, Cena, Lesnar, Taker, even Taker. I think we're so far away from that happening.
Yeah.
That it's not even a possibility right now to think about.
Wolfpack for life. With the records being reset, who will go on a winning streak and who will go on a losing streak? You'll see. Of course, the Elite's going to start winning a lot.
Yeah, the Elite's going to win a lot. I think Kenny's going to win that match against Pac. Pac is fighting Darby Allin on Bash of the Beach.
Yeah, that'll be great.
That'll be great.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Jungle Jack Perry go on a bit of a win streak myself.
Yeah, they made a big deal about that last night.
Adrian C. Thoughts on the win-loss records resetting so quickly, given that All Out in is their WrestleMania, it would have been made more sense to reset after that. Seems a bit soon, given they've only been on TV for a few months. Yeah, maybe they just thought January 1st, it's a good time to hit the reset button.
If they're looking long term, I mean, I'm actually
as long as it's consistent, that's all I really care about.
I'm actually a bigger fan of them using All In as the point, or that All Out, whatever. If they're going to make that their Mania, which I think would be a great idea.
Yeah,
I'd be a bigger fan of that. But whatever. I mean, the first of the year is good too.
As long as they're consistent.
Yeah.
Greg Morris, outside of Jericho, I don't care about the Inner Circle. At first, it seemed like we get a war with them and the Elite. Am I missing something?
Oh, I love Sammy Guevara. If you're not paying attention to Sammy Guevara, you're doing yourself a disservice. I absolutely love Sammy Guevara. I think he's great.
It'll happen. Adrian C. Everyone agrees MJF is amazing on the mic, but at what point does he really need to start to show in the ring? I feel like he only wrestles maybe once a month. He's got a match next week. Tag match.
Yeah.
They may be one to save that till he eventually gets in the ring with Cody, though, at Revolution.
Yeah, maybe.
Steve Klain, hey friendos, which AEW tag team will have a breakout 2020? He says Butcher and the Blade. They just got diamond cut by DDP. They're a long ways away from a breakout.
I think the Young Bucks are going to have a breakout year. I mean, I don't think they're apt to change the titles around too much. I think that the Young Bucks and maybe LAX are going to be the only other tag teams to have those titles this year.
Yeah, that could be. Probably.
Any other questions here?
No, that was it.
All right, cool. Right on. All right, well, everybody, thanks everybody for watching. We do appreciate it. Our NXT review is already live on the channel, so you can check that out. That's a cool prop right there.
It's my interim title.
Well, yeah, you can say that, but this doesn't really count.
It does. It counts just as much as you saying that it doesn't count because that's just your opinion, man.
Yeah, so that nullifies it, so it doesn't. So nothing.
I know that's the whole reason
the
whole reason that you took Big Red is so it nullifies the results.
I didn't take Big Red. I didn't take it.
You did.
You want to go look at my car right now? There is an empty spot where it was.
I know because you took it inside your house.
I didn't take. I have given you an open invitation, and you have not gone for your property. You haven't even bothered to come over to my house.
I know it's a huge
and look
ruse.
for the
I
title.
know it's going to materialize as soon as you win predictions again. That's exactly what's going to happen.
All right. Well, I guess you just know everything then, don't you? Somebody stole the title, our property, and you don't care about it. I'm the one filing their police reports.
Let me see this police report. Still haven't shown me that.
It's in here. It's right here.
Show
Look,
it to me.
We'll go off the air.
Show it to me. No, do it right now on the air.
Sacramento Sheriff.
Ryan Luckman says, look at Discord.
Office. Why do I have to look at Discord? I don't know what I'm looking at. There's a lot of questions here that I've already answered.
All right.
Anyways, I'll look this up. Thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate it. And I appreciate it, not him. I appreciate it. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Thanks. Bye.
That's a good toy that you got on your shoulder there. Let's see here. Sacramento County Sheriff's
Not even typing.
Office. Clack, 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 clack.
Not even
clack,
typing.
clack, 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 clack.
No, you're very good at
All right, let's see here. Submitted orders. Let's see.
Submitted orders.
Where is... All right.